Untitled Podcast is a part of the Kansas Google Education Group Network and also the Mace Kansas Network. You can find more information about episodes and guests at www.untitledpc.net. Welcome to Untitled Podcast. My name is Travis True.
And I'm Carol Nelson. Welcome, everyone, to the Untitled Podcast. Today, we have Tim Vesco. Tim is a fourth grade teacher at Frank Layden Elementary in Frontenac. Did I say that right, Tim?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, in Frontenac, Kansas. This is his 20th year of teaching. Tim was a 2016 Kansas Teacher of the Year nominee. He received the 2017 Crawford County Teacher of the Year Award. Tim has also been recognized for the Kansas EdChat Moderator, EdCamp Kansas Organizer, and you currently live in Frontenac, Kansas with your wife. It's a great pleasure to have you with us, Tim.
I appreciate you guys having me on, and I appreciate you guys starting this podcast so more Kansans can hear about all the great things going on in our schools.
We're excited to hear everybody's story. And speaking of that, let's start off the episode and just share your story with everyone, kind of your journey through education to where you're at now.
Yeah, so I'm not a native Kansan. I grew up in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and that's in the southwest corner of the state, and born there, raised there. But my dad was from Baldwin City up near Lawrence, and we'd go visit my grandma every summer. That's the only thing we did every summer. So I always knew I wanted to come live in Kansas because I thought Kansas was the best place in the world. And then when it got time to choosing colleges and things like that, I wanted to go to KU because I'm a huge KU basketball fan, and that's where I was going to go. I also knew I wanted to be a teacher. I had an amazing sixth grade teacher named Miss Pauline Meyer, and I knew I wanted to be just like her. I knew I wanted to be a teacher. So we looked at the stuff from KU, and we were like, oh boy, we can't afford out-of-state tuition from KU. So just literally out of the blue, my dad said, well, when I lived there, Pittsburgh State was the teacher's college. So we just took a visit between the summer of my junior year in high school and my senior year in high school. And I just loved Pittsburgh and Southeast Kansas. It just felt like a second home, even that young of an age. And I decided, well, I'm going to Pittsburgh. I'm going to Pittsburgh State. And moved down here in 97 and spent 4 years at Pitt State and got a great education, and then was hired to teach elementary school. I've taught fifth and fourth grade throughout my 20 years of teaching at Frank Layden Elementary, and absolutely love being in Southeast Kansas. I love our school and our staff in Frontenac. We do some pretty amazing things. We're just a really close-knit group, and that's kind of where I am right now. I'm year 20.
Yeah, I'm in my year 20 also.
Mm-hmm.
So must have been a good year. But before we get going, I think from being in that part of the state, the more important question is, are you a Chicken Annie's or Chicken Mary's?
Well, good question. Since I'm in Frontenac, we have Bardo's Idle Hour. And that's the best one. So if you guys ever come down here, I'll treat you to some Bardo's Idle Hour chicken because it really is the best. I'm not playing favorites because that's where I live. It's what we choose to get all the time. But you can't go wrong with either Chicken Mary's or Chicken Annie's. But if you guys ever come down to Frontenac or Pittsburgh at any time, I'll treat you guys to some Bardo's chicken because it's my favorite.
Well, that's worth the trip right there, it sounds like.
Definitely.
I don't know what any of those chicken places are, so I feel like I'm really missing out here.
Yeah, we've got quite a few. That when I moved down here, it surprised me, especially Chicken Annie's and Chicken Mary's. They're literally right next door to each other, and people have their favorites, but you really can't go wrong with any of them. They're all delicious.
Their fried chicken restaurants, and they serve family style fried chicken and coleslaw and different.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
Family
My
style.
wife can attest to that.
Yeah, family style dinners. It's really good, and when you're in that part of the state, you got to go to one of those places because
Yep.
it's worth the trip down there for sure.
Yes.
Well, we'll move from family style dinner to family style get-togethers on Twitter. How's that? How did the Kansas Ed Chat get its start, Tim? You've been very involved with that. I'm even curious if you know how long it's been going on.
Yeah. So it started. I didn't start it. It started in 2013, and it was started by Ginger Lumen, who's out at ESDAC. And it was also started by Anthony Purcell. And he was a teacher I believe he was in Emporia at the time, but he lives in Oklahoma now, teaching down there. And they started it up, and I literally came across it on Twitter. I started a Twitter account just like probably everybody else, just to, follow celebrities and news and things like that. And I came across 50 teachers to follow on Twitter, and I just started following them. And then I was totally amazed. Like they followed me back. And they were tweeting some amazing stuff. But I came across that hashtag, KSED chat, Kansas Ed Chat, and I just thought this was great because these are people they're from our state, and I can reach out to them, and they know kind of what we're going through, and just made some great connections with that. So that's when it started. And then for whatever reason, life just happens. It kind of went away. And then a teacher in Valley Center, David Hendershot, started it back up. And I was so excited for that. And I joined in and just was participating. And then life happened to him. I believe he had his first child came along, and that keeps you busy. And he asked if I'd take over. And that was about 5 years ago. So I've been running it, and I've had help from lots of people throughout this time. Been kind of moderating it, setting up, getting people to host it. And we just really have it so that Kansas educators, we can connect with each other, learn from each other, kind of show the world that, I think right now people just think Twitter is just like a cesspool. Sometimes it's so negative. And if they just see all the teachers out there that are sharing and connecting and asking questions to get things better, make things better for their students, I think they'd see there's some good stuff to it. And they're just, they've just been really impactful for me, not just Kansas Ed Chat, but other Ed Chats. There's one if you want one for, I teach fourth grade, there's a fourth chat, there's a third grade chat, that you can find something for everything, where you can find people like-minded like you that can help you as you're going through your journey through this as an educator.
Yeah, I can't believe how many Ed Chats there are at any given time happening.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And like you said, any topic that you're interested in, you can get on leadership and gifted and special ed and all those different grade level chats. It's just amazing. And just the quality of information, and people are just willing to share what they know and help each other out. It's just amazing.
It really is. And that's the best part about it. It's just a way to try to bring our profession more together, as a community. And that's really what it's about. It can be, getting on Twitter can be a little intimidating. And if you see all the hashtags and how to answer the questions, some people can get a little nervous about that. So if anybody's interested in hopping on one of those, Kansas Ed Chats every Monday night, 8:00 p.m. And ours is really laid back. We'll help you out with anything you need. And if you aren't sure about asking the questions or answering a question, just lurk and watch and see how it goes. There is nothing wrong with that at all. And then when you feel more comfortable, hop in. This year, I'm really excited. We've got the entire calendar clear through May. I've got a host signed up for every week, and that's just amazing. But it just kind of shows you what kind of educators we have in Kansas, that they're willing to do this on their own on Monday nights to improve themselves and make things better for their students. It's really cool.
It is amazing.
So we just got done talking about Ed Chats on Twitter, and another, I guess, similar activity, but more face-to-face, are ed camps.
Yes.
You are very involved in EdCamp Kansas. So can you give us some background on how that got started?
Yeah.
And how, if somebody's interested, how they can maybe start one, or at least host one at their district.
Yeah, for sure. So EdCamp Kansas started in 2013, and I saw it on Twitter. There was a hashtag for it, and I was like, "What's this?" And it was during the summer, and it was free professional development, and they had it at Wichita State, and I was like, "I'll go to this. It's free. That's amazing." And it was really small. I think there may have been like 40, 50 people there, and it was on the campus, and I really didn't know anything about it, but it blew my mind that there was no agenda. We were making it up when we were there, and we could talk about whatever we wanted to. And it really blew my mind. And then after I was finished with it, and it was more conversation based and getting to know people, I was like, oh, this is the only way we should ever do this. And then after that first couple years, Diane Smokorowski, Mrs. Smoke, who everybody in Kansas will know who we're talking about when we say that, she took it over, and they had it in Andover, and I went to that, and she asked if I would be part of it because we wanted to really make it a bigger event. So with her leadership, we set it up so there were 5 or 6 ed camps on the same day throughout our state of Kansas in different locations. So everybody can be involved. And we held one in Southeast Kansas here that myself and my team were in charge of. There was one in Lawrence, Topeka, Hayes, Andover, Dodge City. And we were just trying to get people to connect and learn and through conversations. And that's the big thing with ed camps. And I think why they're so popular is it's about what you want to learn about that day. And if it's not meeting your needs, one of the rules is you can get up and leave and go to somewhere else or start your own. If you want to spend all day in one session, that's fine too. You find what works best for you. And they have to be free. That's one of the parts of it. They want it has to be free, and anybody can go. It's not just educators. One of the best sessions I went to was, it wasn't at EdCamp Kansas. It was actually one in Springfield, Missouri. And this, I think he was a 5th grader, 5th grade boy's mom made him come. So he hosted a session on how to make Lego stop motion movies. And he was amazing because he knew how to do it, and he was leading it and talking to us about it. And he had to be there, so he thought he'd lead a session, and it was fantastic. So that's just really neat that it's for literally anybody to be there for it. The EdCamp Foundation, if you're wanting to start one for your community, reach out to the EdCamp Foundation. You can search them up on Google. They'll help you get anything you need to make sure it's successful. They've been, I believe they're still doing this. They were tremendous in sending out, like Post-it notes or pens or whatever we needed to get the day going. They were willing to help with that. And that's fantastic. And a lot of school districts, I know my school district didn't charge us anything to, host this. This was, they felt like it was so important. If you're wanting to host one within your district, we've done that. I've put them together for our district. We modified it a little bit just because to fit our needs. So usually at the day of an ed camp, you build the session board that day with suggestions what people want. For our district, just to make everybody more comfortable, we built the session boards about a week before and got some hosts for it. We still wanted it to be conversation based, and we still had the same rules. If it wasn't meeting your need, go to a different one. But if you're new to an ed camp and you've never been to it, it can be a little overwhelming at first if you're not sure of how that works. So we structured it a little bit more within our district, and the feedback was incredible. And administrators liked it, and definitely the staff liked it because they got to choose what they wanted that day. And so if you're interested in starting it within your district, I'd reach out to me. I'd be glad to share with you some of our Google Docs we use to start all those and get them organized. And I promise you, after you have one, your staff may not want to ever do another PD in a different way again, because it's just, when they know they have a voice and a choice in it, it seems to make them a little more excited about what they're learning that day.
Yeah. And you can also have a virtual ed camp. We did that this summer. We kind of switched gears and went virtual this summer when everybody else did, and that was real interesting. And I'm fortunate enough to have been helped out getting that kind of organized and do some things on that. So it doesn't have to be face to face. I guess if you can't do it face to face, you could do a virtual one.
Yep, and that worked out really well too this summer. We couldn't have been more happy with that. And again, Diane, Mrs. Smoke, she had it all. She has such great ideas. But we even did some family fun nights. Like we did trivia night at the end, and woke up early in the morning, and people were, just sharing some of their favorite books. And we just wanted to make it so people were connecting. And with today, we have to do it through Zoom, it seems like, but I still think people left that feel like with their tank refilled. I always think like it's not, ed camps aren't professional development. It's more like your like passion development, because you can really, like, if you just love teaching, usually when you leave an ed camp, even virtual or there, you are ready to go back and you're ready to teach again. So I'd highly recommend it for anybody, however you want to do it.
Yeah, I have teachers that they'll ask me about it, and they can't wrap their mind around that it's an event that's not pre-planned for the as far as having pre-planned sessions. And then once they do it and understand how that works, they always walk away saying it's probably some of the best professional development, because they can't control, they get to choose what they want to talk about. And I've had more conversations in a hallway with people between sessions than actually going into a session.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And what's cool about it is, like, you don't need to be the expert when you're there. One of my first ed camps, I led the session. I went to I wanted to go to flexible seating. So I put my name down, flexible seating, and my name. And then I went into the room, and it was completely packed. And I just said, okay, I want to do flexible seating. What do you guys know? And then I just took notes. That's literally all I said. And then the room took over, and it was fantastic. And I literally didn't have to do anything besides write that down. So you're right, though. It's different than what we've been used to in education for years. And but once you have one, you won't want to do it any other way.
Yeah. So hopefully this summer in June is when we usually have that. So hopefully this summer we can get back to doing face-to-face and having those events across the state again as part of that overall EdCamp Kansas. So if it's something that listeners, if you want to maybe get in on for this summer and be part of that network, reach out to Tim, or you can reach out to me even, and we can definitely get you involved with getting started with that, if that's something you want to really do.
Yep, and there's a
website too as well, correct?
Yeah, the best way to get a hold of that is on Facebook. There's an EdCamp Kansas page, and follow that. And then if you have questions, just message through that. We check it all the time, and that's probably our best way of communicating, is just through Facebook.
Perfect. Cool. I love the idea of filling your passions and the freedom and choice with that, and just changing professional development. Kind of along that same line, there's some changes going on in Kansas with Kansas Redesign, and your district is a part of the Kansas Redesign program. Share with us where the district is in the process, what's involved, what you're personally involved with in the process.
Yeah. So we our junior high and our elementary building are part of the redesign process. We did a little bit different. We're part of the Apollo group, but we did the first year where we kind of went to all the meetings and watched the group before us and saw how they were doing it and learned the lessons from them before we officially applied for it. And that was such a great thing, because we kind of knew what we were getting into beforehand, because we knew it was going to be a lot of work. And when you're changing things, you can have some pushback and whatnot. We wanted to make sure we knew what we were getting into. So we went to meetings the year before, and when we saw all the good things that were going out in the schools, in Southeast Kansas, it was like Neodesha was there in Fredonia, and there were some other schools, and they would just come back from those meetings so excited about what was going on and the changes they were making. And they were honest about us too, about certain things that didn't work, and they had what they were changing and all of this. And it was just, you could just see they were excited about it, and we knew, okay, we're going to do this. So last year was our building year, or the piloting year, I guess you could say. We decided to pilot lots of different things. We're for social emotional. We're doing, we were going to do morning check-ins with the kids. And then if students needed more assistance, we have people in place that can, we'd have people in place, or even maybe just me going and talking to a student so that we can meet their needs first thing in the morning. We knew we wanted to give some voice and choice to the students. So we started our interest groups, basically kind of like clubs. And unfortunately, we did it once and it was super fun and the kids loved it. And then schools were shut down. So we weren't able to do it through our Zoom. And then with the way the school year is now, we're back in buildings, but we know we can't do that yet. But once we can get back to a traditional way of schooling, I guess you'd say, we know we're going to bring that back because the teachers loved it, the students loved it, and our parents and our community really like that. We're looking at going to some standards-based grading, and we're going into more details with all of that. We're wanting to make sure that we did this before redesign, but we started a house system to get kids more involved and make kids more build relationships with the students is 100% why we're doing it. So that was part of it too. Right now in the process, we're still doing through the redesign. The redesign team at the state has been fantastic to work with because they know just the world's changed and classrooms are changed, and understand we may not be able to do everything as what we wanted to do now. And they basically told us, like, when we're ready to launch full board, they're here to support us with that. And that's been wonderful to hear. The coaches through the redesign team have been fantastic. And our leadership in our building and the teachers in our building, we know we're working towards it, but we know we can't just do it all at once right now because, it's a different year right now. But we're on that process. I'd also recommend schools, if you're looking at redesign, to definitely look at it and do it. It made us really look at our programs and say, what are we doing well, and what are some things we need to not throw out, but things that we need to tweak here and there. And it's always good to look at your processes and see how that all goes. So we're enjoying it right now, and we like it, and it's going to be what's best for our kids, and that's the most important thing.
That's awesome. And did I hear you had a special, I don't know whether to call it field trip for yourself? You went and visited somewhere?
So we got to go to, it was a couple of years back, myself and kindergarten teacher Dwayne Taylor, we got to go to the Ron Clark Academy in Atlanta. We were blessed through a Donors Choose to pay for that. And then we have an education foundation in Frontenac that helped chip in with that too. And we are very grateful for them for that. And we spent 2 days down in Atlanta at the school, and it's like a life-changing experience just to go there and see how they do things there. The building's amazing, and it's so cool. But the biggest takeaway we got from there was, like I said, the building's amazing. It feels like you're in Hogwarts, and there's all sorts of magical things going on. But they could literally be teaching in their parking lot, and the kids, and they just have so much passion for what they're doing, and the kids and their families. And that was the biggest takeaway I think we took away from it, is like when you're at school, they bring it 100% every day. And that's what we strive to do every day at our school at Frank Layden Elementary too. We did start a house system. They have a house system there. And my colleague Dwayne was the one. I didn't think we could do it, I'll be honest. Dwayne Taylor was like, I think we could do this. I think we could do it. And I'm glad I listened to him. We took what they had there and we fit it towards us. We have 4 houses, and each house is named after a trait or virtue we want our students to leave our elementary school with: courage, leadership, friendship, and truth. And we took those names and put them in Italian because we have a lot of Italian heritage in Frontenac. And every Wednesday, our PTO bought the kids house shirts. So every Wednesday, for the past several years, our kids wear their house colors every Wednesday. When before we could, this year we can't really meet together, but we would have house rallies and get to know kids from all grade levels. It's a great chance for our older kids to learn some leadership and teach it to the younger kids and vice versa. And just getting to know the kids better. It was, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'7". I'm a tall teacher, and a lot of those little kindergartners and first graders are scared of me when they see me. And then they get to know me, and they know I'm a big pushover. But now when I walk down the hall, and all of our teachers, like, they just know all of us better because, hey, he's in my house, and things like that. So it's been a great thing. This is our year 3 of it, and this year we actually have one tonight at 6:00 after this. We're having our first virtual family house night, family fun night. And we're going to play some Disney trivia and just trying to keep so that the kids have, more than just their teacher. They know there's another adult in the building and other adults that are looking out for them and care for them and want them to do what's best. And just to bring us closer together. It's an amazing thing. If you guys ever I don't think they're having anybody now, but they do a lot of virtual stuff through the Ron Clark Academy. Check out them on Facebook. Usually they're free, and they're really neat to see. But if you ever get a chance to go check it out. It's amazing.
All right. So talking about redesign and doing, things differently in schools. Mm-hmm. What is something that you're going to take away from this whole COVID and remote virtual teaching that we've been in since March? What's one thing that's going to continue on when we're back to that traditional classroom again?
Definitely. There's some things that I know once we're done, I'm definitely going to get rid of. Like, I want right now everybody's in desks and rows, and I love flexible seating. So that's all going to come back in when we can. But I'd say the most important thing, I have 21 kids in my class, and I have them all day. Like, we go to recess together. Like, we're together all the time. And I really, really, really know them well. And they really, really know me well. And that's been a good thing, that we've really got close in this first 9 weeks. In previous years, I would say I was close to my students anytime, but previous years we would do, like in our 4th grade group, I would teach all the social studies and the kids would rotate around, and you get to know everybody a little bit that way. But this year, not being able to do that, I really know what works with the kids, what motivational strategies work, when somebody needs, maybe needs a break or things like that. Like, I just got that because we're around each other all the time. So building those bonds will definitely be something that we take away. Some of the technology pieces too, I think we'll keep. We've been using, our school's an Apple school, so we use, it's called Schoolwork. And that's been really nice when students can use it in class to access assignments. And then they can also use it at home when they, if for whatever reason, need to work on it at home. And that's been pretty easy to use. And the kids have got that figured out. So we'll continue using that. But I would definitely think it's the relationships that we've got and we've built. I think these kids will always remember their 4th grade year as being pretty unique. And I think we'll have that, for the rest of our lives.
Absolutely. Well, Tim, thank you very much for joining us on our episode today of the podcast. I want to remind everybody that any resources or anything that was mentioned throughout the episode we'll have in the show notes on the website, so you can click on those links and check those out. But make sure Monday nights 8 p.m. Kansas Ed Chat. What's our topics for November?
So tonight will be more about what's worked for you and some strategies for distance learning and remote learning. And then the rest of the time, usually we find out the topics usually that week, and we start promoting them. So that's the one for tonight. Next, we do have some really good hosts coming up. And all month long. So just follow the Kansas Ed Chat hashtag on Twitter. We also have a Facebook page too, if that's more of your thing. It's just Kansas Ed Chat on Facebook, and we post on there. If you're new to it, just hop on and lurk and check it out and see what you think. But we'd love to have you. It's a great way to connect with our fellow educators here in Kansas.
All right, that sounds good. Well, thanks for joining us, Tim.
Thank you. I appreciate everything you guys are doing. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.